Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Simply Nerdy. This is an episode we have all been looking forward to for a long time. I'm joined by the majority of the panel. We've got Austin, David, and Lisa. And we're here to talk about the Nintendo Switch 2 presentation that Nintendo just gave us because it was a juicy one. Yep, let's just get right into it. Austin, what do you think?
Oh my goodness, they dropped so much information from Mario Kart to DK, Bonanza to all the information about the Switch, and we have since heard even newer information. There's been news that has dropped from Bowser, President Bowser himself. Not the king, just the president Bowser. But it's a lot of crazy stuff. Of obviously, the repercussions have. It's kind of created this chaos from all of the consumers and players and fans of Nintendo that are just like, what the heck, especially when it comes to the price. That's definitely something that we'll have to talk about. But overall, I think I'm very pleased with the technology and a lot of the features that they brought aboard. I'm looking forward to some of the games, especially Metroid Prime 4.
Oh, yeah.
But for me, I'm probably going to wait to get the Switch 2. Unfortunately, that's kind of where I'm sitting right now. I might have to hold off until either it does drop in price or, and in the meantime, I've got so many games in my backlog that I can play. So it's unfortunate because I love Nintendo and I want to support them, but financially, that's really hard,
Mhm.
It's hard to justify $100 per game with tax, basically, is what it's going to come down to.
Hey, yeah, it's so true. But yeah, no, I've been like you said with the hardware. Like I couldn't be more pleased with what they showed off. I was blown away. 120 frames a second is pretty dang awesome. It's way better than I thought it was going to be. And they
Yeah.
got the 4K output, and oh my gosh, like day one, baby. But yeah, the whole question about price is going to be a real kicker. So we'll have to keep following that as it develops. David, Lisa, what are your overall thoughts of the Nintendo Switch 2?
I'll go.
Yeah,
It's
you
been a
go.
roller coaster for me. It's been a roller coaster in the past several days because, like you've said, the presentation itself, like it was basically everything I wanted from the hardware and better than I expected. I did not expect 120 frames per second and 4K being a possibility on this console. So the hardware, that's what I wanted. I wanted a Switch, and that's all. I just wanted a portable Switch, handheld hybrid, but more powerful, and we got it. And like
Dang.
Nvidia, I mean, we don't know the full technical specs, but Nvidia was talking about how, according to their measurements, it's 10 times more powerful than the original Switch. And
Dang.
that's what I want. I want to be able to play first-party Nintendo games without performance issues. There's people that have gone hands-on with the Switch 2 and with some of the games, including enhanced ones like Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom, and they're saying how like they can't ever go back. Like those two games in particular, it's just blowing them away the difference and how much better they look and perform. Um, so like I have a feeling that like if we played those, we'd be sold. We'd be like, oh yeah, this is what we wanted from the original Switch. To be able to play these games that are performing well. So
It definitely gives me the drive to go back and play some of the games that I'm typically like. Once I finish an open world game, I never want to go back and play it again, and that rang true for Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom. But after having seen some of the graphical updates and the performance updates, I'm like, I would love to go back and play this game again. So,
yeah,
I've actually beat Breath of the Wild 3 times,
oh my
but
goodness.
I think I'm ready to do it for my fourth. Man, just the footage that they showed, it looks so good.
Yeah.
And especially Quark Forest, where of course that's just the legendary place with all the glitches. But
Yeah, all the
and seeing
drops
that
frame
run at 60 frames a second, 4K, dang.
beautiful. Yeah.
And not to mention, if you are subscribed, we found this out a little bit later, but if you're subscribed to the Nintendo Switch Online Plus expansion pack, you actually get the Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom upgrades for Switch 2 Edition for free. So
Really?
day one for free, you can play those, and I cannot wait.
That's
All right, Lisa, your turn.
Well, okay. I'm in an interesting spot because there's the parts of me that are grumpy and the parts of me that are fine. So I'll note the different parts. So there's the part of me that's like, okay, the price of the actual system itself is, I don't know, kind of par for the course for how much systems cost nowadays. So I'm not so much freaking out about that. But I do think it's pretty awful, the precedent that's being set about the new price of games. Because once companies see, oh, people will buy games priced at $80 or $90, then everyone will be like, oh, that's the new price of games then. So
well, and to add to that, one of the things that President Bowser had actually mentioned is that they are doing variable pricing for games. So they're trying
Yes, that's
not
what I
to.
heard.
They're trying not to
don't know,
set
man.
like a benchmark, but I agree with you. I think that because companies are going to see Mario Kart is $80, they're going to say, well, we're making, the Elder Scrolls or some other like AAA, quadruple A game and say, this is $100 game in our book, with all the time and effort we put into this.
yeah. And how
So
much you want your money?
Yeah. If they know people would
And you
pay
know
for
what?
it.
You know, like a side effect of this variable pricing that maybe they're not considering is it's going to like put in the consumer's mind a variable quality, right? They're like,
Yes.
Nintendo thinks this game is only $60 worth of goodness, like.
Yeah.
What if they price Metroid low compared to others? Like, oh, Nintendo doesn't believe in this. Look how low they price it compared to Mario Kart.
Exactly.
Yes.
I don't know. It's gonna have that effect where like an assumption about the quality of the game based on price with variable prices. But anyway,
No, I agree.
the game prices is where it's hit me because there were rumors about the Switch costing like $450 to $500, and those have been going around for months.
Yeah.
So that wasn't. Maybe I had time to like get used to that idea. So the price of the console, like Lisa said, like it's not the worst. It seems sort of reasonable to me, and the president of Nintendo of America has made comments since then saying, about the prices, and is like, we're not selling the hardware at a loss. We wanted to have some margin of revenue, so that's where they kind of priced it. I kind of feel like there's a double standard with hardware pricing. Steam Deck LCD there is the $399. So Switch 2, comparably powerful, has a much better LCD screen. So maybe that's worth like $50 more than the Steam Deck. The Steam Deck OLED is like $550 or something like that. I'd have to look up the exact prices. So the double standard here to me is like I saw a comment where somebody was like, I'm on the fence with Switch 2 because it's expensive. I could buy a second Steam Deck OLED for that's like
Right.
I could buy a comparably powerful system for $150 more or $100 more than Switch 2. It's too expensive. Anyway, it just felt a little silly to me.
Yeah.
But I'm not saying it's silly to think it's expensive in general. Just this kind of double standard with hardware, where if it's not Nintendo, it's okay for it to cost more than $500.
Well, I mean, Nintendo, people have to realize Nintendo has been notorious for being the cheaper console, especially when it comes to like the family consoles, so that, they can pump out consoles at a cheaper price, and they don't care so much about the power and the extra features. But now that they've finally done that, people are kind of up in arms. And I think for the most part, people are okay with the console price. I think it's mostly the gaming, the games themselves that people are upset about. And I'd have to agree.
I think
like
that's how it is for me.
I
same.
think the price jump is a little outrageous. That's just my take. A lot of people would chalk it up to inflation. Some people predict that there were tariffs that were being taken into account beforehand. I don't buy that.
President Nintendo claimed that tariffs were not factored into that original price.
Yeah, exactly.
But
He said that.
But now that pre-orders have been delayed, who knows?
Yep. Now they're taking into careful consideration. They're
Yes.
gonna take a look and say, okay, well, if cost of materials and everything's going to go up by 40 to 80%, then we might need to reconsider. This whole thing is just kind of made me sad and realize that, that it feels like Nintendo's being a little bit of a Scrooge in this situation. And in terms of like the penny pinching and little things that I like that $10 tech demo and such a jump in the game
Yeah, that was
prices.
weird. I was going
Oh
to
my
talk about
gosh.
that. That should have been included just like Astrobot.
Yeah.
That looked awesome. And I thought it was such a cool idea. And then, like, for a price. And I was like, for a price? It's like, you're going to sell this thing? Why?
This is a company that had net profit, not a gross profit, of $4 billion. And this just makes it seem like they're penny pinching. And I don't know. They should have just eaten the cost and given it to the players. But
Yeah.
It was interesting. So Kit and Krista, YouTubers, they used to work in marketing for Nintendo of America, so they have some insight and stuff. They did some videos talking about all this, and it was pretty interesting to hear their insights. They were saying how like Nintendo doesn't have Reggie Fils-Aimé or Iwata anymore, and those were like the people that kind of would advocate for consumers more. And there's nobody like that at Nintendo right now anymore.
Yeah.
So
I remember
So-
hearing that.
I read something else that was saying how like Reggie had to argue with Nintendo to include Wii Sports as a pack-in game with the Wii. They didn't want to do that, and he's like, "You need to." And they only agreed to it because they're like, "Well, I guess the Wii is so different that we need this so people can understand the motion controls or something like that." But otherwise, Wii Sports wouldn't have never been a pack-in game. It would have been you buy it separately kind of thing. But I guess Nintendo believes if they did work, they should, they deserve compensation for the work they did, is their mindset, right?
Mhm.
So I guess they even feel that way about this Switch 2 tech demo kind of game thing. But the thing that's going to happen is that nobody wants to pay for that. It's not going to make any money. It's going to get nothing.
No.
I think you're right, though. I think it's something that they should have just eaten the cost because they have enough of a profit that it wouldn't have been that big of a deal for them. I think the only people that are going to purchase this $10 tech demo are going to be content creators to have footage of the
I
of
was,
the
I was
game.
going to say, it's going to be me.
So yeah, yep.
Nintendo's taking the mindset of the people that are paying for the content, and and maybe Mario Kart World is big enough and has some big surprises. The comments from Nintendo of America, they were, I think Bill Trennan was actually the one saying it. I think he's the vice president. Well, he was saying, just wait, Mario Kart 8 justifies its $80 price, and wait for the Mario Kart World Direct that's coming later this month to see more of that.
Right.
It's
Yep.
I don't know what to expect from that. I think it will be more impressive than what we've seen so far, but will it justify the 80? That's hard for me to imagine.
It's so much.
It's a lot of money. So yeah, it sounds like we are all kind of on the same boat. Pricing is a little hard to swallow, but
A little.
what did you guys think of Metroid Prime 4 and of Mario Kart World in general without getting into the price? Like, what are your overall thoughts of the games that we saw during the presentation?
I think they all look like must plays to me. But it's particularly Metroid Prime 4. I've been waiting for that since
Yes.
the beginning of the Switch.
Yes.
I want to play it. Donkey Kong Bonanza, it's very likely made by the Mario Odyssey team. People who got to play it hands-on are like, this, it feels like Mario Odyssey 2. And that was a masterpiece, the original Mario Odyssey. I want to play it. To me, the games all look great.
Okay. Anyway, what games are coming to NSO?
So they confirmed
Sorry.
they confirmed Wind Waker. They confirmed F-Zero GX, Soul Calibur 2, and then they said at a later date it would include Mario Sunshine, Fire Emblem Path of Radiance, Pokemon XD Gale of Darkness, Super Mario Strikers, Chibi Robo, Luigi's Mansion, and Pokemon Coliseum. But if there are other games, I'm curious what our viewers or listeners are interested in. What games do you want them to bring to the GameCube Nintendo Switch Online? Oh, they also announced a controller. It's like a Pro controller, but GameCube. Like,
Oh,
Yep, like the other
Because-
NSO controllers.
because the GameCube was because the GameCube had the perfect controller.
I
It
think
really
so.
did.
Yeah.
It really did.
There's one particular game that Austin would want on his wish list, right?
Yes.
I don't know if they could do it, but I want it.
I want them to
That's what I
make it
want.
online capable too.
Oh, it'd be sick.
But that would require
We're talking
like,
about
a full
Super
on,
Smash Brothers Melee, just so you all know.
or just
Yeah.
skip the NSO port and do the Nintendo Switch 2 like like a definitive edition, Melee HD
Hey,
with online capability.
that'd be so cool.
Yeah, not gonna
Nah,
happen.
That'd be a good one. So as far as like Wind Waker goes, we're not getting the HD version from Wii U, but it is getting a resolution boost, and it looked good.
Yes, it did look really good.
I never played Wind Waker HD, so I don't know
It was
what
good.
it added, and was
The
it
sailing was a lot
The
faster,
sailing was faster. Yes.
way faster. So hopefully, if they're putting this on the NSO, hopefully the sailing is the same speed.
There were
I don't know
some
if it's
great,
like enhancements that way, but
yeah, a lot of good quality of life improvements overall. I remember in that game, but yeah, it was gorgeous
it.
as well.
we might not be getting those quality of life things then, but it does seem like they do the resolution boosts on these games. Like I saw some comparison videos and showing the Switch 2 version of Wind Waker, and it did look nice. It looked comparable to me to the Wind Waker HD, and then F-Zero GX looked awesome. As far
Yeah, it
as
did.
the visuals, the resolution.
I was gonna say, didn't they also announce? Sorry, this isn't GameCube related, but they also announced Mario Party Jamboree Edition on
Yes,
Switch
they did.
2 with more stuff, more features,
with cameras.
Yeah, with a lot of
and cameras. Yes, so you can see your bubble of your head.
Above your face. You know these. There's a chat functionality coming to the Switch 2. That's what the C button was. The C
Yeah,
button.
you have to have NSO though, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Most likely. And also, they have a little Nintendo Switch 2 camera that plugs into the HDMI. Well, it plugs into the USB-C port on the top of your Switch, and you can see each other as you play. And Super Mario Party Jamboree is using that functionality to kind of put you in the game itself.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's Super Mario Party Jamboree is going to be the real demo of the hardware. Like they built mini games around some of the new features, like the chat and the camera and stuff like that. So the Switch 2 edition of that is going to really lean into some of the hardware gimmicks, including the mouse mode of the controllers. Speaking of mouse mode, people were saying that like Metro Prime 4 was the perfect showcase of that. How it's seamless. All you do is you set down the controller and it switches immediately to mouse
Immediately.
mode. Like, there
Wow.
isn't, like,
I was gonna
like,
say,
you
yeah,
don't
that's
like
how
going to-
easy it is.
That's so cool.
You don't have to go into a menu and say, "No, I'm ready for mouse mode." It's just like seamless. So that sounds pretty cool. I know there's a lot of people who like won't play a first-person game without mouse controls. So it's intriguing that that's going to be an option for Metroid Prime 4. For as far as Switch 2 goes, like the mouse controls and the camera, those are kind of the gimmicks, I guess. People expect kind of hardware gimmicks from Nintendo consoles, but they still seem useful. It's not something super wacky.
What is super wacky though is Dragon Drive.
Oh,
That little game
Yeah,
that
that was
reminded me a whole lot of Rocket League, but on
with the
in a
wheel.
wheelchair
Yeah, wheelchair.
and
You use your mouse and you
playing
kinda
basketball.
roll your wheels and then you shoot. Yeah. Anyway, that was it. That looked interesting.
It looked awesome.
It did look interesting. People were saying that they're like it might be destined to be Switch 2's ARMS. If you remember
Yes.
that game, ARMS.
Yes.
And so they're saying it might be kind of destined to fill that kind of role on Switch 2.
It's true.
like a game that is built around one of the hardware gimmicks. And
Yep.
Yes.
I mean, you know,
But it looks good.
Maybe it
It
won't.
looks really good.
yeah, it could has potential to be fun, kind of like you said, like Rocket League, where a game that's kind of built around one idea, but if it's done well, it can be super fun to play competitively.
Oh yes.
You're shaking your head.
I'm so excited.
She's not
Oh,
a Rocket League fan.
I mean, I haven't played it, so maybe I'm prejudging it too much. But I don't know. I played Mario Strikers, and is it very similar to that?
It's a little different.
No.
I'm not sure. It's still a bit different, I think.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, maybe it was worth a try then.
But if it was like Mario Strikers, then it would be an even better game. Just kidding.
Hot take, maybe.
Hot take. I love Strikers, man.
I mean,
Anyway.
maybe my take is the hot take. Anyway, sorry. Moving on.
I was just going to say, I think that's about it. Go ahead, David.
Yeah, one more thing I wanted to say as far as Switch 2 goes. So Nintendo has been my primary console for years, the Nintendo Switch in particular. I don't own, like, I have a PS4 that I got much later, and it's not the newest PlayStation or anything like that. So for me, the third-party announcements were also a big deal. Like seeing that day one, the Switch is getting games like Elden Ring and and then later it's getting an exclusive FromSoft game with the Desk
Yeah,
Bloods.
that's awesome.
Yep.
That was kind of fascinating for it to get us an exclusive from a very popular gaming company, third party. And like Hogwarts Legacy is getting a boost. It's gonna have a seamless world instead of the port on the Switch One that had to have loading screens and stuff.
So cool.
And the one I want to play the most, Split Fiction from this year,
Yeah.
one of the highest rated games.
We are going to
Coming
have a
Switch
review,
day
I
one.
promise. It's so good.
I have yet to play that. That looks
So I
so
will
fun.
be- I'm gonna wait for Switch 2. I'm gonna play it there. So like getting that on day one. I didn't have a way to play Split Fiction. It's not on any hardware I currently own that can run it. So I'm excited for that. Since all of these are games that I haven't already played on other consoles, I just don't have the money to juggle multiple consoles. And buying games for several different consoles. Like this is a big win. I'm excited for the big third-party support and finally getting to play some of these games that I missed out on because they weren't on Nintendo consoles before. So,
It's gonna be so
including
great.
Elden Ring, Split Fiction, other games. So,
I can just imagine
So maybe-
third-party support just exploding this generation.
and I've seen that. I've seen reports from developers. They're like, we're very happy with the new hardware. Like having the dev kits and seeing what they're able to do with that. This is great. So
Sick.
I'm excited this kind of third-party support we get. And Final Fantasy VII Remake.
Oh,
kinda-
Yes,
Yeah.
can't forget about that one. Yep, that's gonna
Yeah.
be wonderful too. Ah,
Dang.
It's got strong support of like very popular third-party games. And that's a big deal for me. Maybe some people, it's like I already played these elsewhere. I don't care. I only care about Nintendo consoles for Nintendo games. But if you're like me and it's your primary console, then it's a big win.
That's true.
So-
Yeah, that's fair.
mm-hmm.
As for me, I just played Remake on Steam, and I think I'm going to keep my Final Fantasy on Steam. But it's
don't blame
really
you.
nice that they're adding it to the Switch too. I think that's a good move.
If Rebirth ever comes, I'll get it. I'll probably get it on Switch too.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah,
I'm sure it will.
All right. Well, I want to hear what all of you think about the Nintendo Switch 2 down in the comments below and what games you're most excited about. I know it sounded like we were a little negative in this discussion, maybe a tad, but I will say we are excited for Switch 2 and the games. The pricing is a little weird right now. Let's let them figure that out. But this is all super exciting. And yeah, just let us know down below what you think. And until next time, guys, keep it nerdy.
Nerdy.